Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Alfred Hitchcock Presents review. Today it is Season 1, Episode 10, The Case of Mr. Pelham, starring Tom Ewell as Albert Pelham and Raymond Bailey as Dr. Harley. And this episode was directed by Alfred Hitchcock himself, and it has a lot of his traits and characteristics in it, which means it's directed very well. And this is a very thought-provoking episode, especially when you consider it was made in the mid-1950s, and it really must have challenged audiences to think, which is always a good thing in my opinion, although I will say I do have a few small issues with some minor plot points towards the end of the episode, which I will talk about when I get there. Also, the pacing of this episode is just a little bit odd, with the second half feeling a little rushed compared to the first half. But overall, this is a very good episode. So we start with our main character, Mr. Pelham, in a bar, and he's waiting for our other main character, a Dr. Harley, to arrive. And when the doctor arrives, Pelham invites him to lunch, basically, and we learn some personal information about Pelham at this time. And then he tells a story to the doctor about being seen places where he never goes, and he basically suspects that he has some kind of double at this point. And then a man named Tom comes over and basically confirms this. He says he saw Pelham the other day and Pelham ignored him, but Pelham says he wasn't even in town. So this does a good job of getting the audience in the mood of the episode, and we wonder until near the end what's really going on here. It's done pretty well for the most part. So after Pelham and the doctor talk a little more, we get a series of flashbacks, which were a little slow, but they're very effective. In the first one, Pelham basically, we just learn why he suspects that he might have a double, and it's pretty interesting. In the second flashback, we actually get a better example of this, as Pelham is in his office and he reads a whole bunch of letters that he wrote. The only problem is he says he didn't write them, but they're written exactly how he would have written them. So this is a little bit creepy and disturbing. Then we get a third flashback where Pelham finds out that someone ate his dinner. He talks to a man that works for him named Peterson, and Peterson insists you already ate your dinner. And he actually gives Pelham proof of this, as for some reason the dirty plates are still there, and he shows Pelham this basically as evidence, so we now know this is true. It's not being made up. And Peterson will be important to the end of the episode. So we go back to the present, which is basically the second half of the episode. And Pelham asks the doctor if a man can be in two places at once. And the doctor kind of seems this is possible. I kind of like it how the doctor doesn't just dismiss this guy as crazy. That's one thing I really enjoyed about the episode. So good job there. And the doctor asks Pelham, do you think this double would have a motive? And Pelham basically says he feels at times like this other version of Pelham is trying to take over for him, which we'll see by the end of the episode. You were right on there, Pelham, definitely. So we get this next scene where Pelham decides he's going to buy a tie because his theory is this is a one-of-a-kind tie, and then if there is a duplicate, this won't be able to be doubled because it's the only one like it. So this seems like a good idea in theory, but we'll find out later it doesn't work. But this is another important scene. Then Pelham goes back to work and he sees this check that's been signed by him, but of course it wasn't him that signed it. It was his other half, I guess. And he says this was a new signature that he just sent to the bank today, so he's not sure how this is possible. So this guy Pelham's getting more and more concerned, which seems natural, and he makes a call home, and the other version of Pelham answers. He's basically talking to himself, and he wants to talk to Peterson, and when he doesn't get anywhere with this, he decides to go home and confront himself, and he does see himself when he gets home, and this is a pretty cool shot. It's done very well. It's pretty convincing. And Peterson comes in, and both Pelhams are arguing over who's the real one, and they're trying to convince Peterson. And this is where I do have just a slight problem with the plot. They used the tie that he bought. The new version of Pelham basically says, I would never wear this kind of tie, so this guy's the imposter. And the Pelham we've known since the beginning of the episode argues, I bought this for another reason. I bought it so that he couldn't duplicate it, which seems like a natural and logical response as well, but yet Peterson buys into the newer version of Pelham's story, and I found this a little bit hard to believe. It's brought up that they've known each other for like 6 years or something like that. Wouldn't you go by more than just a tie? Wouldn't you know the personality traits or things like that? I just found this to be a little bit contrived and a little bit too convenient into the plot, but if you just go with it, it's fine. Others may find it to their satisfaction, but I thought it was a little shaky, but it doesn't kill the episode or anything like that. So basically then, after Peterson leaves, both Pelhams talk, and we can tell that the newer version of Pelham is going to take over, and that the older version of Pelham seems like he's out there just a little bit. So we get a last scene with the doctor and the new version of Pelham, and they're playing pool, and we learn that the old Pelham has been put away. But it seems like Pelham's doing pretty good, so I guess it's kind of a happy ending. Maybe only if you're the new Pelham, I'm not really sure. And then we get a great ending scene with Alfred Hitchcock almost being taken away. So that was pretty amusing as well. So overall, despite a few little issues I have with a couple of plot points, I did think that this was a very solid episode and well worth watching, and I give The Case of Mr. Pelham a 4 out of 5. Definitely a thought-provoking episode that all fans of the show should watch. So 4 out of 5 for The Case of Mr. Pelham, and as always, thanks for watching.